Unit 15, we cover a number of types of reports, and our first stop is Lesson 71, Itineraries. After the drills, language arts activities listed here, you will see 71E, which corresponds to page 277 in your textbook. Well, if you haven't covered lessons 1 through 60 in a previous course, then you may not know that an open table has borders removed, and that is a very important step when we create the itinerary. So we will move to Report 7141. It is very important to read the instructions on the left. Notice where it says important. Your textbook may have a printing error on page 278 in the date line. Change 2 times to 1 time. This is going to save you from making the error of having 2 blank lines under that date line instead of 1. So let's start work. And we're going to open the instructions over on the right as we did previously. Now you will notice that the instructions on this page, after we turn on Show Hide, are to press Enter 5 times to begin the first line of the itinerary, which is going to amount to 2 inches from the top of the page. And be sure that your font size is size 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the next step is to insert an open table. We can see that we have 2 columns, and if you count them on page 278, you will see 9 rows. If you need help removing the borders, review the Word Manual, page 74 and 75. This is the table move handle, and you click that to select the whole table. We're going to remove the borders up here under Table Tools, the Design tab. Click the arrow for borders to see the border options here, and we're going to say no borders. Now you will see dashed or dotted blue lines. Those are grid lines and not borders, and they're very helpful when you're constructing the table, but they do not print. So for an open table, it's important that you perform this step. Alright, next we're going to merge the cells in the first row to type the heading block. We select that row, and you can choose this command from the Table Tools Layout menu where you see Merge Cells, or you can right-click and select the command from the pop-up menu. Once that is merged, you can click the Center command and bold. Also, we're going to change the font size to 14 for the title. Turn on Caps Lock to type in all caps. Then before you press Enter after the title, you need to decrease that font size again to 12. Then we want a blank line before we type the subtitle, so we press Enter twice. Be sure that you take off Caps Lock, but we still want bold. Press Enter 2 times after the subtitle and type the date line. Then press Enter once. Remember that correction that GDP alerted us to? Now let me explain that the reason we switch back to size 12 before pressing Enter up here after the title is so that we will have only a 12-point blank line and not a 14-point, which leaves us too much space. Okay, now we check that we do have 1 blank line between each part of the heading block, and then we're going to move to the first row of the body of the itinerary. The first date in row 2, column A, is going to be in all caps and bold. Then we type Thursday, March 12, and we press Enter 1 time. Okay, I'll correct that error there for Thursday. Then we move down to the next row. We type 9:39 space AM. Type the hyphen key once, no space before or after. 10:07, you space once and type A period M period. Then press Tab to move to the next cell in this row. First, we're going to type that first group of lines, but you do not press Enter after what you see as Delta 1585. You let word wrap do its work in this sentence. Type the period, press Enter twice. When you're ready to type the sentence about Sharon Lee, use word wrap, followed by a period, press Enter twice. Type airport, embassy, suites, and the phone number. Press enter after that line and then use word wrap for the next sentence, beginning with king-sized bed. It's important to take care with numbers for reservation numbers, flight numbers. GDP will check you, but when you're doing this on your own, you have to be careful to proofread. Press enter once after this sentence, then press tab to move to the next line, where you want to be sure that you have bold on and all caps set to type Friday, March 13. Press tab twice to move to the next row, turn off caps lock and bold, and type 9 space AM. Tab to the next cell and type Resource Consultant Sales Meeting. And notice by the paragraph mark at the end of each line that I pressed enter. I was not using word wrap in this situation. Press enter once at the end so that you will have one blank line in the table here. Then press tab to move to the next row where you type 7 p.m. tab, and here we come to a dash. It's important to learn early in the course how to handle dashes or you will get all kinds of errors in GDP. A dash like this is typed by striking the hyphen key twice with no space before or after. Then you will see in just a moment, as soon as I hit space, Word is going to convert this to a long dash called an M dash as opposed to an N dash, which is shorter. See? Then press enter once and tab. Caps lock and bold again to type Saturday, March 14, tab twice, and type 6:30 a.m. tab. Press enter once at the end of this sentence and then tab to the next line. And remember that when you insert hyphens between the times, just press the hyphen key once with no space before or after. After this entry, you do not press enter. You may have gone on to 2 pages at this point, but you should always be able to make adjustments here in the next few steps that will help it to fit on 1 page. We have entered everything, and now we are at the step on the checklist where it says repeat these steps until the itinerary is finished, and then adjust the column widths as needed based on the width of the longest date or time entry. Alright, you can review the word manual page 107 if you need help with this, but I'm going to show you where you put your cursor so that you have the 2 lines surrounding the border that we want to move. And then we're going to drag that over to the longest line is Thursday, March 12th. We can double check that. It's probably tied with Saturday, March 14th. But so that that remains on 1 line, we have adjusted our table so that it looks like the model in the book. We are ready to save our document and then submit it to GDP for scoring. If you have any typographical errors, keystroking errors, go back and edit them until you have none. And then I will double check your formatting. But the 2 big things on this one are being sure that you have an open table, that you have removed the borders, and that you have adjusted the column widths.